Hi everyone, welcome to Find Your Flow. My name is Natalie and I will be guiding you through this gentle morning practice just to get the body moving and waking up in a way that feels good. So get with you your at-home props, anything you might need, your blankets, blocks, books, towels, pillows, anything at all. And we're going to start by lying down on the ground. So, meeting here. We have a few different options to lie in our Shavasana. If it feels good to have the legs long, then we can do that. It might feel better this morning to bend the knees and just release in the lower back as we bring the feet as wide as our mat. So wherever we are, come to notice where we have the arms. Listening to where there's space. Softening the gaze or closing the eyes completely. Right away, tapping into our breath. The one constant thing that happens every day. And most of the time without us even realizing. So I'm going to take a moment here to start to breathe with intention and awareness. And that doesn't mean anything special, it simply is breathing and knowing that we're breathing. We might like to soften our hands onto our stomach, or our left hand to our heart and our right hand to our stomach. And as we do this, can we feel our breath? Our stomach lifts and lowers, rising and falling like a wave cresting. Can we stay with this intentional breath throughout our practice and throughout the rest of our day? And there will of course be times when we wander away or get distracted or get caught up in something, and that's okay. That really is okay. Just notice these moments. And if we need to take a step back, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, just returning back to this breath. Reminding ourselves where we are, wherever we are. Perhaps repeating in our mind the mantra, I am here. Taking 3 more breaths in our Shavasana. And then you can keep the gaze soft or the eyes closed, or open the eyes if you'd like to. We'll lengthen the legs out long. And just start to circle through the wrists and the ankles. Bending the elbows and the knees lightly. Sending the head and the gaze from one side to the other. Really spreading through the fingers and the toes. And releasing the arms and reaching them back behind you. As we send away through the heels, send through the fingertips, or take a breath in to reach even further. As we breathe out, softening. Reaching back, option to keep space between the palms or interlace the hands. Reaching the palms away, breathing in. Breathing out, one more time, reaching away. Nice, and everybody release and taking the arms out wide. Hugging both knees in towards you and softening the knees over to the left side of the mat. Keeping the shoulder blades on the earth. We'll just rock from side to side. And if you want to stay on one side a little bit longer, feel free. I'm just releasing any tension in the spine, getting some movement going here. And coming back to center whenever you've evened it out on both sides, we'll take the hands onto the shins or the knees. And curling the forehead towards the knees, rounding everything up, breathing in, breathing out as you lower 2 more times, lifting on your inhale. And releasing once more. And softening the head and neck down to the ground, taking the knees as wide as the armpits, hands onto the knees. We'll start to circle them around, so opening the knees wide in opposite directions. And sending lots of love to our hip space today. So using the hands to start off as guides, and then taking the arms down by our sides, using this natural range of motion in the hips to find a little more space. Sending your circle in the opposite direction. Notice how it might feel different with the hands guiding you there, where you may be pushing your knees around without even realizing. And then coming to find this space here within your circle where you feel the most stickiness, or the most area where you would like to invite a little bit more space. And then just stay there for a couple more breaths. Inhaling, exhaling, visualizing sending your breath to this space to find a little more room. Nice, and on your exhale, bring the knees back towards each other and start to lengthen the legs, but keep a nice bend in the knees, really generous bend. We'll reach the arms up, soft bend in the elbows, as we start to circle the wrists and the ankles again, but this time bending the knees and elbows even more generously, almost like you're treading water on your back or doing some form of doggy paddle. Just really send lots of love to every single space around the arms, the legs, the hips. And let your breath lead the way. There's no right or wrong here. We'll find one more breath before softening. 2 options, either rolling onto the right side as we use the palms to lift us to a seat, or bring the hands to the hamstrings as we tuck the chin and start to roll up and down the length of our spine. Take as many rolls as you want to here. Listen to your body and to your energy levels this morning. And we'll meet whenever you're ready with our feet on the ground, hands resting behind us. And with your inhale, we'll lift your heart space, lift the gaze, finding extension through the spine. And on your exhale, curl the chin towards the chest, rounding like a seated cat-cow. Inhaling to open, find space. Exhale to release, curl through into flexion one more time. Coming back to our neutral spine, crossing the right ankle over the top of the left thigh. And if we have a little bit more space, we can walk the left foot closer towards the bottom, or we can walk it away if we want that extra love and softness. So really notice where you are, finding one more breath here. Before taking hold of the right leg. And then maybe our left leg walks out a little bit more, just really listen to the space. And floating the right arm around, fingertips to the earth, lifting tall through our spine. We'll twist our ribcage over to the right side where our right knee is. Option to stay here, or if we have the length today, lengthen the right leg out long. And coming all the way back, unraveling to center, right foot to the earth, crossing the left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Hands come behind us to start. And keeping the left foot nice and active so we aren't collapsing into the ankle joint. Finding one more breath here before taking hold of the leg. Keeping this length through the spine, nice long line from our tailbone to the crown of our head. And floating the left hand around, twisting through the ribcage over towards the left knee. Option to stay here or reach the left leg out long, lengthening, keeping this lift in the heart, breathing in. Breathing out, floating all the way back to center. Nice, one more breath here before releasing and keeping the left leg long as we hug the right knee and the right leg up and over the top of the left thigh. And now if we want to here, we can lift our hips up onto our folded blanket, towel or cushion, just to send a bit more space and love to the area around the lower back and hips. And wherever we are, we'll take hold of our right leg, cradling it almost like a little baby. So we have our leg baby here. And we can keep the right foot in the left hand, or if we have lots of space, bringing it in towards the crease of our elbow, but know if that's for us today or not. Keeping the right foot active as we cradle our leg baby from side to side and slightly rocking forwards and back. Just really oil through the joints here. Keeping the shoulders soft and away from the ears. Nice. And then sending the right leg long, hugging the left leg up and in, finding your leg baby on the other side, foot either in the hand or in the elbow crease. And if you're clicking and hearing lots of juicy cracks and noises here, just embrace that, love that, and breathe with that. Nice. And then releasing the left leg out long, spreading through the fingers, spreading through the toes, giving everything a nice wiggle. And then scooting the legs to one side, we'll jump forwards to a tabletop all fours with our wrists beneath our shoulders, knees beneath our hips, taking all of our attention to our rib cage as we float the ribs over to the left side of the mat. Then send the ribs down to the ground as we lift our tailbone, lift our gaze, finding cow pose. Ribs float over to the right and then up towards the sky, dropping our tailbone and our gaze, arching through the spine into cat pose. Rolling one more time this way, so ribs to the left, down to the ground, finding our cow, head and neck and extension of the spine. Floating over to the right, up towards the sky, really feeling the space as we breathe in, breathe out. Then send our circle in the opposite direction. Imagine your rib cage is the only space of your body that you have control over. Exploring the spine. Moving with this intention that we found. So rather than moving to transition into a posture and just staying there because that's the shape we need to find? Can we instead just move in a way that feels good, noticing how each sensation feels? Coming back to our neutral spine whenever we're ready, bumping the hips to the left, taking our gaze past our right shoulder. And bumping our hips to the right, taking our gaze past our left. And then floating through center, tucking the toes under and walking the hands back onto the thighs. Maybe your feet are starting to scream at you a bit here. And stay with them for as long as you can. If you need to, we can lift onto the knees, find some padding under the knees. But keeping the toes tucked wherever we are, finding a little bit more room here. Reaching the fingertips behind us, we'll lift our heart space, lift our gaze. And then curling forwards, palms float together, rounding through the spine, chin to the chest. This time as we float the arms back, we'll interlace the hands, send the knuckles down and away as we reach our heart. And floating forwards, hands interlace, reaching the palms towards the front of your mat, chin towards the chest. Nice. Coming all the way back to center, planting our left hand down either on the ground. We might like to find a little support here in our at-home props with our books, blankets, cushions. And then floating the right hand towards the sky, reaching really, really tall. First finding length and then folding over to the left side. Keeping the left ribs radiating towards the sky, breathing in, breathing out, coming back to center and taking the right hand down, left hand reaches tall. Reaching your spine nice and long before folding over to the right side. Taking a breath in. And a breath out. One more inhale. Exhaling to come all the way back to center. Coming off the toes, giving the feet a nice little shake. Patting on the ground and then walking the feet knees wide. Bringing the toes to touch as we sit back on the heels. Into a child's pose, releasing down to the ground. In your child's pose, float the hands over to the left side of the mat. Finding one breath here before journeying over to the right side. Finding one full breath. And as you make your way back to center, slowly lift onto the palms, but bring the knees back to parallel, tucking the toes under, walking the hands forwards. And as we press into the palms, we'll float the knees off the ground, hips high, downward facing dog. Pedal through the heels, start to wake up the body. Find even more length from the tailbone to the crown. And keep this softness in the elbows. If we're locking into our elbow joint, can we invite to this micro bend? Just wiggle through the hips here. Take any movement you feel you want to, that feels good. Finding one more breath. And then option to either walk the hands back to the feet or the feet forwards to the hands, yogi's choice. We'll keep the knees bent as we meet together in a forward fold at the front or back of our mat. We might like to take our feet a little bit wider here. Soften the knees even more. Stomach comes down towards the thighs. Arms hang as we sway from side to side like a heavy pendulum. Nice. Coming back to center, really slowly rolling up to standing. Even slower. Can we feel each of our 26 bones and each foot on the earth, rooting down to rise up. Chin stays tucked in until the last moment. It's joining in our mountain pose. Feet hips distance apart, if not a little bit wider this morning. Toes track forwards, knees softly bend, floating the arms wide, spreading our wings as we reach for the sky. And then taking hold of the right wrist with the left hand, reaching tall and then folding over to the left side. Keeping the knees soft, breathing in, breathing out, coming back to center. Taking hold of the left wrist with the right hand, reaching tall and then folding to the right. Shoulders stay soft. We find one more breath. And floating all the way back, hands reach. We find space between the palms as we lengthen a little taller. Breathing in, breathing out. Hands come together, down to the heart center. In Anjali Mudra. Either keeping our hands here or releasing our arms down by our sides. Taking a breath in, exhaling out of the mouth. Setting an intention for your day ahead. Can we live with awareness? Ask yourself, what do you value most today? What would you like to pour your love and your energy into? Name something either in your mind or out loud that you're grateful for right now. On your next exhale, smiling, bowing the head towards the heart. Thank you for joining me now and always, from my heart to yours. Namaste.